Daddy died when I was 3.
We do not need other countries as much as other countries need us. And President Trump knows this. He's going to use the leverage of our markets and our country to the advantage of the people he was sworn in to represent. On the other hand, countries like China, who have chosen to retaliate and try to double down on their mistreatment of American workers, are making a mistake. President Trump has a spine of steel, and he will not break, and America will not break under his leadership.
My kind of rambling life wasn't her kind of style. So I kind of got toughened up and hard to learn not to feel. They started calling me the man of steel. Hey, my friends all call me Superman.
I personally thank you for what you do for our country and for our industry. It has been my pleasure to be here today to help you usher in the golden age of America. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that.
But the shrill voices that you're hearing this week about tariffs are the same scoundrels and frauds who never thought twice about when the United States lost 90,000 factories and plants. Think of that, 90,000.
I think there was this concern among some folks that Donald Trump would come in for a second term and kind of be a lame duck. He ain't no lame duck. If anything, he's a soaring eagle.
Man of steel. My friends all call me Superman.
President Trump signs another executive order, meets with other countries, and has time to give a speech at a dinner, providing daily updates on how this operation is unfolding for all of us to see. What an amazing man of steel, right? We don't worship him, but we see how he's receiving strength through the prayers of all of you guys. Absolutely amazing. We've got great news on traders being called out, firing of high-ranking officials, Caroline hitting a perfect delta on the Intel board, and so much more to go through. Whew, here we go.
It's going to be something, and I'm actually looking forward to the midterms. I really are. We're going to prove that all of their treasonous years of betrayal will not be forgotten, because it's treason. What they did is treason. When they allowed millions of people to pour in through open borders from all over the world, they came. To me, that's treason. What they've done to our country is unthinkable.
It's treason, what they've done. You know, interesting, treason. In the United States, treason as defined in Article 3, Section 3 of the Constitution is limited to levying war against them or in adhering to the enemies, their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. Consequences for treason include, are you ready? Death, imprisonment for at least 5 years, a fine of at least $10,000, and an inability to hold any office under the United States.
I think there was this concern among some folks that Donald Trump would come in for a second term and kind of be a lame duck. He ain't no lame duck. If anything, he's a soaring eagle. What am I talking about here? Let's talk about Trump executive orders in 2025. He's already signed 111 so far. That is the most at this point in a presidency in at least 100 years. In fact, it's the most in any single year, and we're only in April, since Harry S. Truman in the early 1950s. The bottom line is whether you like Trump or you don't like him, you can't say that he's come in and not try to deliver on what he at least believes was his promises on the campaign trail, and he's doing so in historic fashion.
That's the Communist News Network, CNN. Actually, this guy is on fire. He's always getting super excited and pumped up. Wonder why they even keep him there. They don't. You think that folks that don't like Trump, they wouldn't want him out there pumping him up like that. An eagle.
How are people reacting to and feel about Trump's approach?
Yeah, okay, so Trump's approach here, what are we talking about?
And folks that are listening and you're not looking at your screen, I want to describe this scene just for you real quick. She just asked a question, and if you look at her face, I don't know if you guys can see this, but you look right there in those eyes. You ever gotten that look before? That look of disgust? The look that you don't like what you're hearing and you just want it to end? That's her look.
Trump's approach to presidential power, I think the American people recognize what he's doing here is completely different. We're talking, get this, 86% of the American public believes that Trump's approach to presidential power is completely different from past presidents compared to only 14% who believe it is in line with precedent. And we're talking about at least 79% of Democrats, independents, and Republicans. So again, you can agree or you can disagree with Donald Trump, but what you can't disagree with is that he's doing things very differently. I have used the Frank Sinatra quote before. He is doing it, quote unquote, my way, and that is what Donald Trump has done throughout both of his presidential terms, and he's certainly doing that, Kate Baldwin, in term number 2.
This guy's good. I actually like him. He's on fire. Let me tell you how to sell this car. This car is 50 years old. It's got a lower rust on it, but you know what? If you take this one today, it's going to drive for you better than any car I've ever seen in my entire life. Oh, I'm sorry. And maybe she likes Trump. I don't know. But the way I look at it is she's not happy. It's fun to watch if you're watching your screen. Oh, boy. Treason. You know, I saw this. I'm going to read it to you real quick. All signals are flashing. The global currency reset is no longer a theory. We're not waiting for the reset. We're in it. Here are the key signals. The Iraq is the tip of the spear. $200 billion budget stalled pending exchange rate exchange. And JP Morgan embedded in Iraq's banking system. CBI coordinating with IMF and U.S. Treasury. Vietnam is buckling under the pressure. Trump hits with 46% tariff threat. Vietnam begs for 45-day delay. Vows to buy U.S. goods. Review currency policy and correct the FX manipulation. Major manufacturing hub forced into monetary alignment. BRICS and de-dollarization escalating. 40-plus nations applying to BRICS Plus. Gold-backed settlement currency being tested. The U.S. moves to reset the playing field. Executive Order 14178 protects digital assets and mandates financial modernization. Did DOJ ends regulation by prosecution? IRS chief resigns after immigration data sharing agreement. I'm going to show you that in a second. You got the tokenization infrastructure going live. Sovereign debt equals quietly restructured. Zimbabwe, Ghana, Sri Lanka working with IMF. Zim gold banks being tested. Talk of redemption. Project funding and more. Market plan equals controlled transition. Stocks bleeding slowly. Gold surging. This isn't collapse. It's planned demolition. Final thought while people wait for a dramatic announcement. The reset is already underway in plain sight. One corridor, one bond, one bilateral trade shift at a time. The world won't wake up to the reset. It'll wake up in it. Interesting. So moving forward, we've got the self-deporters from the New York Times. The immigration correspondent has found a surprising trend. Really? 13 years ago, the left ridiculed the idea that self-deportation could help solve America's border disaster, but it's happening. The New York Times immigration reporter says she's already found many illegal immigrants who have already headed home and more who are planning to do so. Quote, recent border crossers are much more likely to consider departing. I interviewed several young men from Venezuela who are among them. This is from New York Times. They see footage of shackled migrants shuffled into deportation planes. They watch the videos of more than 200 Venezuelan men accused by the Trump administration of gang affiliation being flown to a mega prison in El Salvador rather than risk subjecting themselves to that ordeal. They want to leave on their own terms. It was never about needing new laws. All America had to do was take seriously the laws that it already had. This Mario guy, Edgardo Garcia Aquino, is a youth soccer coach. He is accused of murdering a 13-year-old boy after assaulting him. Now it turns out he is an illegal immigrant from El Salvador who is also suspected in a second sexual assault of a minor. For decades, America's leaders let the worst killers and predators of the third world come to America. Blue cities sheltered and protected them. No more. Illegals must be sent home. Leaders who protect them in defiance of federal law should be sent to prison. Amen for that one. Of course, the IRS chief, Melanie Cross, has just resigned after reportedly refusing to provide ICE with personal information on undocumented immigrant. They're all going to start falling. The new non-citizen Social Security numbers issued Fiscal year 2021, 270,000, folks. Fiscal year 2022, 590,000. It pretty much doubled. And then you go up to fiscal year 2023. Let's almost double that one to 964,000. And then fiscal year 2024, let's almost double that one. Let's basically double it again to 2 million. Unbelievable. And the actual number of non-citizens receiving U.S. government benefits is much higher than 1.3 million. That number is just what has been found so far. And that is from Elon Musk. Whew. We've got a lot more to go and definitely need some help with our mental and physical capabilities if we're going to continue to move forward. We had a great interview here recently with LT Pet Club 247. I'm going to show you the intro to that.
And the vet goes, she's almost 15. You can go ahead and put her down. Huskies only usually live to about 12 years old. And we took her home, put her in hospice care, set up that appointment that we didn't want to set up. Today, have you ever looked at something called mush puppies? And I had a pantry full of remedies and different lotions and potions, and I made Zentis food and everything, and I never have heard about mush puppies. And I'm like, yeah, we'll try it. We started giving her 2 to 3 mush puppies a day, and we noticed that Zenta was walking through the living room. And then Zenta on day number 4 jumps up on the couch next to me. And so I'm hollering into Gail. I'm saying, Gail, come on in. You got to see this. You got to see this. And Gail starts yelling at me going, what are you doing putting the dog on the couch? You know she can't get down. And I'm reaching over there to pet her, and I can pet her from her head all the way down to her. And she was just absolutely loving it.
It's pretty amazing that we have Zenta, the dog that he's talking about that was saved from so much despair. And LT Pet Club 247 was the solution, these mush puppies. You know, pretty interesting because Kurt and Gail, you're looking at them on your screen, Weeks. They shared their story on the video. It's in the description box below if you want to watch the entire thing. It's absolutely amazing. Zenta, their dog, was given no hope from their vet. They were advised it was time to put Zenta down. Shortly after, they were asked to consider mush puppies with immune-supporting Coriolis versicolor mushroom. They took the advice, and within a few short weeks, Zenta was back taking walks and jumping on the couch. Zenta ended up living 19 and a half years. It's amazing. You guys can go to ltpetclub247.com. It's in the description box below. You'll get this amazing product for your pets. You will not regret it. It'll be absolutely amazing. And again, please watch their interview. It is brilliant.
Fox to reveal what's really going on. Doge exposed our immigration asylum disaster. That was the tip of the iceberg. Now, here's the story. Doge has found that immigration gave a work authorization document to illegals just 5 months after they filed for asylum. That document allowed them to work while they waited to hear whether their asylum request had been accepted or denied. So they could work as an illegal, knowing it would take years before their case was heard. The Immigration Department mailed them a Social Security number. No interview, no proof of identity. Just put it in the mail. Here's your number. In 2021, Doge says 270,000 new aliens were issued Social Security numbers. 500.
And so we went through those numbers already. And it's reaching the mainstream media. Fox is now reporting on that. It's just unbelievable, folks, what has happened in our border, how these illegals were brought over, given Social Security numbers, and, of course, allowed to vote in the elections. Tom Homan was at the Arizona legislature addressing all of those guys on border security in Phoenix, Arizona, and he is getting a basically standing ovation from many of the folks in the room.
In a matter of weeks, we have illegal border crossings down 94% in weeks. President Trump did in 5 weeks what Joe Biden didn't, wouldn't, or didn't even attempt to do in 4 years, which proved that he had the ability to do it all along. He didn't need new laws from Congress. As he said, one of his best lines on the Capitol Hill, we just need a new president, and we got him. You know, I woke up every day pissed off for 4 years of what the Biden administration came in and unsecured the most secure border we've ever had on purpose, not by accident, not by mismanagement. This was done on purpose. This was done by design. And when you got 94% less people coming, how many women ain't being raped every day by the cartel? How many children aren't dying on the border every day? How many pounds of fentanyl is not getting into the country to kill Americans? How many people on terrorist watch lists aren't coming to our border? How many people are being released in the United States? I'll tell you right now. The first 2 months under Joe Biden, February and March, they released 184,000 illegal aliens in this country. Same time for President Trump, 9. 4 of them were material witnesses on criminal investigation, 4 were significant emergency medical issues, which means no one's being released. Catch and release is over. President Trump stopped that day 1.
So while he was giving his speech, just wanted to show you this in case you guys missed it. The pathetic Democrat legislature in Arizona walk out while Tom Homan is speaking on the border crisis. It's not just disrespect, it's cowardice, says Desiree, America 4. How dare you turn your back while Americans are begging for security? And there they go. If you're looking at your screen, one of them looks like, does she have purple hair? Looks like purple hair. Interesting color. Anyway, they get up and they walk out one at a time in protest because we're protecting our country, protecting our citizens. They don't care about all the rapes. They don't care about the illegal aliens receiving Social Security numbers. They don't care how this all plays out. They're acting like a bunch of spoiled brat little children. And they walk out, proving once again that by the time we're done with all of this, remember the Q board? The Democrat Party will no longer exist. And you have a lot of folks that are probably Democrats that have switched over to President Trump. And they visited the White House. Many Americans probably switched over. Who knows? But I tell you what, we're watching it happen in droves. And when they start pulling stunts, the Democrats, to hurt the American workers that do everything they can to provide energy for our country, you better believe they're going to come back excited and in support of President Trump.
I personally thank you for what you do for our country and for our industry. It has been my pleasure to be here today to help you usher in the golden age of America.
That's good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.
That's amazing. And so here's President Trump.
Now, under the executive order that I will sign in a few moments, we're slashing unnecessary regulations that targeted the beautiful clean coal. We will rapidly expedite leases for coal mining on federal lands, and these 2 gentlemen are going to do a real job of it. You've already started. And we'll streamline permitting. We will end the government bias against coal, and we're going to unlock the sweeping authorities of Defense Production Act, the Defense Production Act, to turbocharge coal mining in America.
Absolutely amazing. Just one day after another, we keep getting new executive orders, new things that President Trump's doing. I mean, these guys are going as fast as they can, and they're bringing everyone together in the room too. Folks, you know the logistics involved, the timing involved, the planning to get everybody together in that room so that he could do this. Check this out.
We have 4 items prepared for your signature this afternoon, sir. The first of these executive orders is maybe one of the most significant executive orders of your administration thus far. This directs all departments and agencies of the federal government to end all discriminatory policies against the coal industry. This ends the leasing moratorium that prevents new coal projects on federal land, and it's going to accelerate all permitting and funding for new coal projects to allow the coal industry to flourish under your leadership, sir.
That's great. Thank you. Okay.
I love it when he shows the signature to everyone. Proving once again it's not auto-pinned, right?
Danger of being in America. Sir, there are currently dozens of coal plants in America that are in imminent danger of being forced to close based on unscientific and unrealistic policies enacted by the Biden administration. What we're going to do is essentially impose a moratorium on those policies taking effect to protect coal plants that are currently operating, to ensure that they're able to continue producing power and continue providing jobs to Americans in the coal industry.
Great. Thank you very much.
One after another. He keeps signing them and bringing more details and protection for our country. It's amazing.
Sir, you've made grid reliability and security a key focus of this administration. This executive order is going to promote grid security and reliability by ensuring in part that our grid policies are focused on secure and effective energy production and energy transmission, as opposed to woke policies that discriminate against secure sources of power like coal and other fossil fuels.
Oh, my goodness. Does it get better? Does he have any more to sign? What else does he have? Let's see. Here we go. He's got more. Sign another one.
Lastly, sir, one of the biggest problems we have in this space is Democrat states, radical leftist states, enacting policies and enacting an agenda that discriminates against coal, against secure sources of energy.
Radical leftist states, and everyone, if you're not listening, if you're just listening and not watching, everyone in the room starts giggling. A couple of comments, and President Trump kind of points to him like, yeah, he knows how to talk, doesn't he? These radical leftist states.
Many of these policies are unconstitutional and illegal, and with this executive order, you're going to be instructing your Department of Justice to vigorously pursue and investigate these state policies that we believe are illegal or unconstitutional.
Amen. Illegal and unconstitutional. And he's signing away. Oh, my goodness. One at a time, folks. One at a time.
Thank you very much.
Just amazing. Amazing. You know, President Trump said he had a very good meeting with the Speaker of the House and some of our more conservative members, all great people. He said, I let them know that I am for major spending cuts. We are going to do reductions, hopefully in excess of $1 trillion, all of which will go into the one big, beautiful bill. I, along with the House members and senators, will be pushing very hard to get these large-scale spending cuts done, but we must get the bill approved now. Make America great again. And he was at the NRCC dinner giving speech, at just one comment after another, waking us up.
If we slash taxes on American workers and producers, our economy will soar, jobs will surge, manufacturing will boom, and our country will prosper like never, ever before. We got to get this big, beautiful deal done. We got to get it done. And get it done now. Don't wait 2 weeks. Don't wait 2 weeks. See, bad things happen. Crazy things happen in politics. Just get the damn thing done and stop showboating. A couple of people want to, sure, I got to get a little bit more. A little bit more. You know what you're going to get? You end up getting nothing. You end up getting a Democrat bill or worse.
Democrat bill or worse. Quit delaying. Liberals are so upset with Trump. You would think he stole 90% of the Haitian Relief Fund, sold 20% of our uranium to Russia, deleted 33,000 emails, and let innocent Americans die in Benghazi. Well put. The Supreme Court blocked the activist judge's order demanding President Trump to rehire probationary employees at 6 different federal agencies. Another win for President Trump. It just gets better, doesn't it? AndWeKnow.com is where we're at, folks. Great website. I always recommend to you that you go to that website. Very, very good. Filled with all of our messaging, all of our videos. Our social media is in the top right if you're looking at it there. X. We're on Facebook, and Facebook is growing fast. Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. We've got all of our videos there if you miss anything. All of our information on the celebration cruise, July 13th through the 20th, 2025, is on amweknow.com. Click on that if you want to join us. We're looking forward to meeting you and going through Alaska. It is absolutely beautiful. We're going to have a blast together. Can't wait to see you. You subscribe to our newsletter. You can also find all of our partners that you hear about on our videos. If you forgot which video had which product you were looking for, simply go to amweknow.com, and there you go. It'll be waiting for you. And if you guys don't like seeing the Rumble ads play, the ones that where I'm not talking or trying to tell you what products are really good for you, you can go to Clout Hub below our video, click on our Clout Hub link, and you can watch our videos with all that gone. And you can actually see it with translation of whatever language you want there. Shop.amweknow.com has all of our gear, sweatshirts, hoodies, accessories, hats, tees, and tanks. You get free shipping and a free tote with any purchase. Use code APRILAUK. It's on sale now. The flags, everyone's favorite welcome mat, and the aprons. Folks, here's more great pictures of Patriots wearing their gear. Folks, the Trump assassin sought missiles from Ukrainian arms dealers. According to the Department of Justice, Ryan Root collaborated with contacts in Ukraine to acquire shoulder-fired missile and or a rocket-propelled grenade launcher. He explicitly stated that the weapon would be used to assassinate Donald Trump in order to stop him from taking office. Donald Trump Jr. said, if you think it's bad that Ukraine never said thank you for everything the United States has done for them, the fact that they seemingly did not tell us that this sociopath literally tried to buy arms from them to assassinate my father seems like a much bigger deal. I wonder why. Mike Benz was on with One American News, and he estimates 95% chance that a would-be assassination, would-be Trump assassin Root was working for the United States government.
What do you think the percentage likelihood is that Ryan Routh was working for someone who was a contractor or a subcontractor of the United States government or one of its entities?
95%. No, I think it's done informally, though, which is to say that this is not to say that the CIA did it or the Pentagon did it, because you have rogue cells that have informal networks that they set up to do this sort of thing, and this is the sort of thing you can really only get with electronic communications and a full sort of network map of every single person that Routh was interacting with. And what we're told is that the trial has been delayed because the volume of this is so intense, despite the fact that we're told that he was virtually homeless with his homes in foreclosure.
Yeah, I'm not buying that this is just some mentally ill person wandering around. I think somebody was operating Ryan Routh. What do you think the percentage likelihood?
Ryan Routh is what they call him. I say Root, the root of the problem, but probably pronounced Routh. Anyway, the guy was taken out, but he probably had rogue elements inside the intelligence community that helped him out. So you go over to the intelligence side. DNI Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard said and announced the establishment of a new task force charged with transparency and accountability to restore trust in the intelligence community and end the weaponization of government against Americans. She calls it DIG, my Directors Initiatives Group, or DIG, D-I-G, is already hard at work executing the tasks required by President Trump's intelligence-related executive orders, such as ending wasteful spending, streamlining processes, identifying documents for declassification, Crossfire Hurricane, Biden's censorship of Americans, documents related to JFK, RFK, and MLK assassinations, and more. Interesting that she released this April 8th, 2025, yesterday. Well, wouldn't you know, if you go over to the Q board, folks, April 8th, 2018, you've got the first word, DIG, D-I-G, period. Social media contacts worked for who? WHO. Access level, find all the pics, bigger than you know. Huh. It's amazing. Does she know that that was on the board? Is that a coincidence? I don't know, but I tell you what, the senior CIA official, Terry Aderim, has been fired, per Breitbart. Also, a vice admiral, Shoshana Chatfield, refused to hang pictures of the President of the United States and the Secretary of Defense at NATO. She has been fired for insubordination. That's how you do it. Absolutely amazing. I love seeing that. Also, speaking of leadership, Scoop, Ken Paxton, remember the guy that was suppressed by the Bush family? The Bushes, the evil ones, with all their power in Texas? Well, he hires Axiom to run Texas Senate campaign. He's going to be running for senator. Yeah. He's got a strategies guy, primary, the firm Axiom Strategies. They're going to run his campaign, I guess, against Senator John Cornyn, according to people familiar with the matter. So Paxton's challenge of the four-term senator, which he announced Tuesday on Fox News, is expected to be the GOP's most expensive primary in 2026. You betcha. If the Bushes are behind it, you betcha. If the Cheneys are behind it, oh yeah. Paxton has tapped Nick Maddox, who served as the chief political advisor in his 2022 campaign, to run his primary challenge. Sam Cooper, another Axiom consultant, is expected to lead an outside effort to elect Paxton. Jeff Rowe, the firm's founder, will not be personally involved. Rowe is among the party's most controversial political operatives and is in a feud with Trump's 2024 co-campaign manager, Chris LaCivita. Trump world's disdain for Rowe dates back to the 2024 Republican primary, when Rowe ran an outside group backing Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Just keeps getting better. Here we go.
An interesting time. We're making a fortune with tariffs. $2 billion a day. Do you believe it? I was told $2 billion a day. I get hit by the press about tariffs. We're making $2 billion. This isn't 35 million, that's peanuts. $2 billion a day. And then they say, gee, they don't know. This is only the enemy can be talking this way. In addition, we have a lot of countries coming to see us. They want to make a deal.
They want to make a deal. We've got Mr. Wonderful.
I want to differentiate between the trade in non-parity. For example, you talk about Thailand. I have a company that makes greeting cards. Hewlett-Packard laser cutters making greeting cards in Thailand because labor's cheap, and we FedEx them every day here. They only have an economy of 35 billion, and the deficit is 200 billion. That country will never have trade parity with us. It's too small. But we can go to zero tariffs with them. And I'm telling you, there's a difference between getting everybody at 0 on 0, which is free trade, basically, which for Trump would be a huge win. That call 48 hours ago, when the Eurozone said, okay, uncle, we'll go to 0, take that win. It's a huge win. Now, getting trade deficits settled, that's going to take decades, because we are the largest economy on earth by a factor of 2.5 times. We're always going to have deficits.
Amazing. Just trying to help the CNN folks grow up just a little bit. While they were at it, you guys know that there was a lot of corruption going on. And kind of forgot about the USAID, didn't we? Kind of forgot. But USAID had a government slush fund. Let's get that reminder back for everyone.
We knew the U.S. government runs a $2 trillion deficit every year. We're in debt almost $40 trillion. And we also knew that anytime anyone tries to cut anything in Washington, the whole city screams bloody murder. Okay, so the question is just why? Well, now we know. The money is all going to them. It's like round tripping to them. New York Times, getting paid. Politico, getting paid. Bill Kristol, perennial warmonger, getting paid. Ukraine, getting paid. Like 11 out of 12 publications, Ukraine, getting paid.
Incredible.
Viktor Orban, who's the prime minister of Hungary, was saying that he's very popular in Hungary. His political opposition, funded by USAID. In Poland, the left-wing political opposition funded by USAID, and on and on and on it goes.
BBC, you wonder why everyone in the UK, so yeah.
Like
I couldn't believe the BBC's getting paid.
Every left-wing organization in the world seems to be getting paid by this slush fund at USAID, which disperses about $50 billion a year. That's $1 billion a week. That's actually a lot of money. And so it makes you wonder, you know, the left in general tries to portray itself as a movement of the people, that it's grassroots. This is the exact opposite. This is AstroTurf. This is basically money coming from the top down out of Washington to fund all of these groups, maybe not even in the United States, like all over the world. So it makes you wonder, what is the real level of local support for these left-wing policies all over the world?
What is it? Who's stealing the money? Why are they getting it? More and more just continues to happen with this corruption. With all of us. I mean, we're noticing so much of it. Makes you want to take an axe to all that corruption. And so I'm showing you a video of Mike from Hunter's Blend Coffee. He's chopping away.
Are you tired of giving your money to woke coffee companies that hate you? Well, you're not alone. So here at Hunter's Blend Coffee, we donate to organizations such as pro-life, veterans, youth shooting sports, hunting and conservation, anti-sex trafficking, patriot organizations, and others. Now, we buy only specialty grade coffee, which is the top 6% of all coffee. It does cost us more, but we think you'll agree the exceptional flavor is worth it. And we roast fresh right here in Central Ohio. And we pack and ship fresh right to your door. Well, you'll smell the difference when you open your mailbox and taste the difference in your first sip. Welcome to the Great Awakening.
Oh, so good. So good to see what they do, and him just explaining how they are just wonderful Americans. If you go below this video, you can click on the link that we're giving you for this amazing coffee. The premium coffee for freedom-loving Americans. They only buy the top 6%, folks, of the coffee. Roasted in perfection. Ship it fresh to your door. And I tell you what, it is amazing with the coffee apostle there, Paul, founder and co-owner. He's been importing and roasting specialty-grade coffee since 2006, designing the ideal roast to bring out the best flavors of premium green coffee. It's both an art and a science that Paul has perfected over the years. Every lot is roasted in small batches to make sure the coffee you receive is as fresh as possible. And it is. I drink the decaffeinated side, and I tell you what, it has changed me for the better. I just love good coffee. And I'm telling you, that's the place to go. And definitely give them a call also. You'll enjoy your time together with them.
I mean, really, this is fundamentally a case of terrorism. It's wide-scale domestic terrorism with the purpose of intimidation, and it's harming innocent people. It's really terrible. And I think what we actually have to get to are the people who are organizing and paying for these attacks and protests. That's who we really need to go after, because the people who are actually throwing the Molotov cocktails, they are the foot soldiers. Right. But we need to go after the generals, and we're going to do so. The president has made it very clear that we're going to go after those that are paying and organizing these violent attacks. And Attorney General Bondi has said the same thing. I believe that is exactly what will happen.
They're going to go after them. These guys are in big trouble. That's right. You know, you're looking at this. Who's paying to burn the Teslas? DOJ and Congress are probing the money trail. The Molotov cocktail attacks. Tesla dealerships weren't just mindless rage, coordinated, armed, and funded. They're digging deeper. That House Doge subcommittee formally called on the DOJ and FBI to expose any NGOs, activist fronts, or political donors fueling the anti-Tesla violence. It's going to happen. These folks are going down. Nicholas John Rosk, 29 years old, pleaded guilty to attempting to kill Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh over Roe v. Wade ruling. He faces life in federal prison. By the way, remember this character, Catherine Mayer, the leftist NPR CEO. Remember her? Well, she's currently the chair of the board of Signal. What are the odds? Remember we played her clips and her disdain for truth? We don't need truth. That one. That one that was probably part of the board trying to figure out how they can force Trump's hand to have individuals, leaders that they don't like, removed. And of course, they use their mainstream media puppets to try to put pressure on Vice President Vance. Say, hey, here's a question for you. What are you doing about these people, the Signal people releasing information about our military? So glad that he's our vice president and not Mike Pence, the traitor.
When can we expect an update on the internal investigation into that Signal chat leak? Has that investigation concluded, and what are the findings?
I think we'll get an update soon. Look, we take it very seriously. We all accept that a journalist should not have been invited into the chat, and members of the administration, including my dear friend Mike, have taken responsibility for it. But I find the American media's obsession with this issue very, very interesting, because I happen to remember about 4 years ago when American military leadership made a catastrophic error that got 13 innocent Americans killed in Afghanistan and had about $80 billion of military equipment turned over to one of the worst terrorist organizations in the world. And for years, the American media ran cover for a Biden administration that refused to fire any generals or even launch an internal investigation that was meaningful and substantive about what happened. And now the same American media that covered for the Biden administration after the untimely death and the unnecessary death of 13 brave Americans is really, really interested in forcing the president of the United States to fire someone because of a Signal chat, That is not honest behavior from the American media. And if you think you're going to force the president of the United States to fire anybody, you've got another thing coming. President Trump has said it on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, on Thursday. And I'm the vice president saying it here on Friday. We are standing behind our entire national security team.
Done. Bravo. They're losing. They're losing everything. Doge has been in there finding out exactly how these federal agencies are working, while the Signal thing seems to be, falling apart. The mainstream media always looking and working with their folks, the puppet masters, trying to tell them what to do on the next way to take President Trump down, and it's not working. Every day we're waking up to more information. Federal agencies. What did they spend their money on? Check this out.
On high-end pieces. Since fiscal year 2021, executive agencies have spent more than $4.6 billion on furniture alone. That amount could buy 9.2 million American families a modest $500 kitchen table. During the peak years of the COVID emergency, from 2020 to 2022, agencies spent $3.3 billion on furniture, even as work migrated to Zoom. The SEC managed to spend $700,000 furnishing a single conference room in New York. And social distancing guidelines failed to keep even the Centers for Disease Control from buying solar-powered picnic tables with charging ports that by their own rules should have sat unoccupied. And an added burden for taxpayers is that many spaces are in long-term disrepair, as we mentioned before. Federal buildings need $370 billion in fixes.
Interesting. So you think that's just furniture? Well, Fletch 17 sent me something that that kind of got me thinking. Listen to this again. Now, do you remember Wayfair and their huge prices for furniture? Remember that? Maybe this is not what we think. Maybe they weren't buying furniture. Maybe it was something different. Now, let's show you the Wayfair trafficking thing. I happen to have this that somebody released. Remember Wayfair. Why would a company charge $10,000 or more for a pillow or a cabinet or a baby album? Who was making the purchases, folks? Just a speculation now. Just wondering. An item's listed for $10,000. Who's buying it? Why would it be titled with unusual first or last names? Why would they give weird names to furniture? It has been noticed that some of these kids have come home while others remain missing. The logical answer is that these kids themselves may not have been trafficked, but as a public record represent an easily accessed catalog of desirable types for traffickers. Do you want male, female, black, white, Hispanic, native, mixed, or blonde or brunette? And we're showing you a $26,599 couch. Why does a baby album sell for $11,000? A vase sells for $196,000. I'm getting to something here. I'm showing you this to just kind of lead to the next portion of this for you to understand. Let's go back over. We listened to this about the furniture cost. And remember, he's mentioned it's $9.2 million in waste. 29 mirror. So you take that 9.2, reverse it, mirror it to 29. Kelly and Loose 17 caught this. And you go to the number 29 on the Intel boards. Some things must remain classified to the very end. North Korea is not being run by Kim. He's an actor in the play. Who is the director? The truth would sound so outrageous, most Americans would riot, revolt, reject, etc. The pedo networks are being dismantled. The child abductions for satanic rituals. Haiti and other third world countries are paused, not terminated until players in custody. We pray every single day for God's guidance and direction as we are truly up against pure evil. Remember, he mentioned 9.2.
On high-end pieces. Since fiscal year 2021, executive agencies have spent more than $4.6 billion on furniture alone. That amount could buy 9.2 million American families a modest $500 kitchen table.
9.2 million American families. How did he come up with that number? American families. 29 mirror of 92. American families are being used for the pedo networks. Where's that money been coming from? Speaking of money, they're trying to make folks continue to brainwash them. It's not working as well. Bernie Sanders saying, we're going to raise the wage. It's time for $17. He's got this tiny little sign that some kid could have made in elementary school. And he brings a small group to sing. Yeah, so exciting.
But the shrill voices that you're hearing this week about tariffs are the same scoundrels and frauds who never thought twice about when the United States lost 90,000 factories and plants. Think of that, 90,000. How do you do 90? If you had a map, a big map the size of that wall, and you had a pin for each factory, you wouldn't have enough room. You think of it, 90,000 factories since NAFTA.
Close down our factories. Start using, what does everybody see on their social media? Temu and Shine. Trump just nuked Temu and Shine. It will now cost $75 per postal item. On June 1st, it will go to $150 per postal item. The White House updated the 321 executive order. Now items sent through international postal mail get a tariff of 90% or $75 per item. The transportation company chooses if it's 90% or $75, but it has to be the same for all their shipments. This is just for postal mail. Is it for China, Hong Kong? Correct. Yeah. China, Hong Kong. If you're looking at your screen, the year 2000 trade, $100 billion trade. The U.S. as the larger trading partner, blue all across the earth. Fast forward to 2024 and you see the red, that's China taking over the entire earth. President Trump's had enough. So the largest economy in the world is levying a 104% tariff on the second largest economy in the world at 12:01 a.m. S&P 500 forward PE is still 18 times. The best thing from this is I won't see Temu ads again. That's our hope. And everywhere that China tries to take over, they're getting stopped.
To be very clear, China did not build this canal. China does not operate this canal. And China will not weaponize this canal. Together with Panama in the lead, we will keep the canal secure and available for all nations through the deterrent power of the strongest, most effective, and most lethal fighting force in the world. We will do this in partnership with Panama. Together, we will take back the Panama Canal from China's influence. And we will do this along with other capable, like-minded allies and partners. This is what peace through strength looks like.
Yes, peace through strength. Pete Hegseth, letting them know you're on alert, China, not yours anymore. And now let's go to the steel. Remember we played this in the intro, but I'll just play it as a reminder.
Does not need other countries as much as other countries need us. And President Trump knows this. He's going to use the leverage of our markets and our country to the advantage of the people he was sworn in to represent. On the other hand, countries like China, who have chosen to retaliate and try to double down on their mistreatment of American workers, are making a mistake. President Trump has a spine of steel, and he will not break, and America will not break under his leadership.
Pretty amazing. And she released this when? You ready? Look at this. Yesterday's Delta hit again, and that was, she released that on the 8th. So on the 7th of April, 2018, one day after the Delta, we see you have more than you know. Steel, S-T-E-L. S-T-E-E-L. Tech, America for sale. Systematic weakening of the U.S. Uranium One, cash flow funnel, inside job, traders, money. We are in control. Those who wait can see. It makes you wonder when we talked about in yesterday's video showing Hillary Clinton arrested on 9/11/2016. Did they finally have enough to grab her? There it is. Joe Rambo caught it. Multiple days in a row. Yesterday's Delta hit again. Spine of steel, and that was 2 days ago. Steel. China. It's amazing. They're going down. Rod Martin breaking why America holds all the cards in the U.S.-China tariff showdown. Let me tell you why Beijing's in deep trouble. Trump hit China with 54% tariffs, and he's threatening to jack it up to 104%, well, which he's already done. The numbers don't lie. China's $300 billion trade surplus with the U.S. is about to become their biggest weakness. A high tariff hits them way harder than it hits us. Basic math from the media seems to have forgotten. They need our market more than we need their stuff. Look at that. U.S. imports from China. Look at all that red. U.S. exports to China. Look at the blue. With most countries, Trump wants to eliminate tariffs. That's what reciprocal is all about. All current deals are lopsided subsidies. Made sense during the Cold War, not now. By making things fair, Trump incentives them to cut their tariffs to zero, and that's exactly what's happening. Countries from Argentina to Vietnam, they're falling all over themselves to cut zero tariff deals with Trump. Even the EU is in on it, though their offer is weaker than it needs to be. But China's different. China's our geopolitical enemy. They openly talk about attacking us, even with nuclear and biological weapons. They've endlessly used unfair trade practices to drive American businesses under. Now Trump means to turn the screws, and Xi can't back down even if he wants to. He sold himself as the guy who stands up to America. Caving to Trump now would be political suicide. Backed into a corner. Bombshell 70 countries already lining up to negotiate. We saw that, and Trump's not Just targeting China directly, he's hitting countries they used for transshipping. Looking at you, Southeast Asia, with 50% tariffs. You know, they try to go to another country and say, we'll just ship through them so we don't have to get hit with these. Oh, no, Trump said, no, you're going to get hit too. All countries around the earth. Countries like Vietnam are already seeking a 0-0 tariff. Important, China's nuclear option, rare earth controls, isn't as powerful as they think. They think their rare earth material is going to help them out. Trump's already working on short-term alternatives, but longer term, that's a lot of what Greenland and Ukraine are about. Get our stuff from Ukraine, get it from Greenland, and now you understand the chessboard. It's not checkers. Wall Street's crying about market drops, but Trump's playing the long game. Sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something. He's not wrong. The bottom line, Xi's trapped in a corner of his own making, while Trump's got a full deck of cards to play. That's Rod Martin. Pretty good stuff.
Right now, China's paying a 104% tariff. Think of it, 104%. Now, it sounds ridiculous, but they charged us for many items 100%, 125%. Many countries have. They've ripped us off left and right. But now it's our turn to do the ripping.
Time to do the ripping. 104% was decided many years ago, says Dr. Russell McGregor. We are operational. The new financial system is coming. The transition will be as smooth as possible, but it will be wild. Buckle up, buttercups. You know, when Trump says 104%, go to 104 on the keyboard. Very simple. Look it up. Now is the time to pray. We're operational. God bless the United States of America. They're sending signals. They're using the tariffs to share with us. Look at 104. And we get excited. And it helps us continue on the battlefield to move forward and get the information out and help people with their precious metals too. While all this craziness is happening, we're getting you information almost every single Sunday out with Dr. Kirk Elliott and also the updates from the weekend. And I'm showing you the video that I put together with different interviews leading up to Dr. Kirk Elliott's interview. And then we went to also the chemtrails at the end. So if you missed Sunday's interview with Dr. Kirk Elliott about tariffs in an even playing field, I urge you to go check it out. You're missing a lot. Dr. Kirk Elliott gives us great information. I remind you all the time, give him a call. He and his team will help you out. They'll pray with you, and they will help you understand why precious metals are biblical and why it's a great time to move forward. Another person who's been working hard and getting information through the mainstream media, helping us all out, helping us with our talking points, and shutting down mainstream media with their little smirks. Eric Schmidt, destroying a smug ABC News host. If you're watching your screen, it makes you sick how she's like, I've got you this time. Look at my little smug. I'm going to give you a question where you're not going to be able to answer it. And he tears her apart. And then she comes back, well, okay, I'm going to give you another one. And she smugs at that one too. We're going to play this.
President Trump telling farmers via Truth Social to have fun with these tariffs. I mean, Senator, that's a bit flip. Is that really the right tone for the moment? I mean, you deal with these farmers in your state on a regular basis. You hear from your constituents. Is this the right tone?
Is that the right tone? President Trump just has the wrong tone. They never did that to Biden. They were saying, he sounded so sleepy today. He's just... They never did that to Kamala with her word salad. She doesn't make sense. Could you help us make sense of what she's trying to talk about? They never did that. No. Just another reminder. They're looking for anything. Now they're grasping into the air. His tone. They're going back to President Trump's tone.
Well, listen, I can tell you, because I'm from Missouri, Missouri's bright red. And rural America voted for President Trump because he's standing up for them. You can't even sell a car in Europe effectively, right?
Come on.
You've got a lot of these barriers that have been put in place by countries who are our friends, but take full advantage. They want access to our markets, but it's an unfair imbalance when you try to penetrate their markets with our goods. So President Trump is entering into a game here of a negotiation to try to bring this thing down, to bring costs down, and also to be treated fairly. So the farmers that I represent in Missouri are tired, like I said, like most Americans, of getting ripped off by so many countries around the world.
Well, let's talk about China. China's gets a tremendous amount of soybeans from us. So farmers need to be able to sell to foreign countries.
Yeah, I don't think you're probably arguing that we have access to Chinese markets, are you? In a real way? That's not your argument.
Yes.
Because they're dumping products across, they're dumping steel. They're bypassing a lot of the tariffs that are put in place by going through Mexico. We finally have a president who's serious about this. And like I said, when President Trump did this the first time, we saw revenue increase, and our reliance on Chinese goods on imports went from about 22% to 13%. That's a good thing for us as we try to bring these supply chains home. I would also point out, as he's announcing these tariffs, we've seen record investment from Apple that wants to get out of China more meaningfully be in the United States. Mercedes-Benz now wants to produce here and not Mexico. And Honda, of course, yesterday, you didn't have that in your report. Honda announced that they're going to start building the hybrids in the United States of America as opposed to Mexico. So if you want to just sort of give one side of this, I don't know, maybe that's good for ratings. But if you had a more balanced approach, I think you would give President Trump a little bit of credit because it worked the first time.
Actually, I took live.
Now she's going to try to defend herself. Oh, we've actually done things.
My show, the president side by side with the Taiwanese chip maker, talking about $100 billion being invested in our country. So I'm very fair and I cover both sides of the story.
No, she's not. She only has one thing.
One more question, something dear to your heart, dear to my heart. Secretary of Education Linda McMahon has now been tasked to eliminate the Department of Education. Special ed is about to get slashed. Listen to what one Texas father of 2 boys with special needs told me recently.
Now they're going to play the heartstrings. We're going to show children and the fathers. They're showing the Department of Education is going to take all my money away. I'm going to play this, but I want you to hear his answer, because he happens to have a special needs child also.
I believe that with the loss of funding, it would be very devastating to my boys, to all the parents that are dealing with the need for the resources for special education. I have a son who's an aspiring doctor, so Title I, amongst other programs, help him receive those Pell Grants and things like that so that he can move forward with his academic career and hopefully become
a thriving citizen. It was the end of that soundbite. Senator, I know you have a son with special needs. I grew up in a family with siblings that have special needs, parents that were teachers in this community. What do you say to parents who are really scared about their kids' futures?
Yeah, I guess my message would be don't believe media reports like you're promoting right now. It's
so good.
Not true. There's the IDEA, which is a federal statute that guarantees those services. And so whether that money then is going to flow directly to the states or in different agencies, the law is the law. There are protections. That funding is going to continue to flow. But what you won't see is the Department of Education denying grant applications to school districts across this country because they haven't implemented divisive DEI trainings and divide the room by race. And so the Department of Education is essentially a conduit for federal funds that are going to continue to flow to states and important programs benefiting those with special needs. So I think a little bit of truthfulness here as opposed to scaring the daylights out of folks who are in vulnerable positions would be appropriate.
Yep, I think you need to do your job and do it properly. I'm not going to let you play games with me. Way to go, Eric Schmidt. Oh, gotta love it. Old Chuck Schumer's shaking his boots, too. He was called out by Elon Musk. Chuck, I'm starting to think you're getting a piece of the action with the government fraud. But no, that couldn't possibly be the reason, could it? Chuck's replying, another Elon lie. He wants you to think anyone who dares to stand up to him is committing fraud. Meanwhile, he's taking tens of billions from the government. I was recently asked if I liked having a racist president. I said, of course not. That's why we replaced him with President Donald J. Trump. Not racist at all. The man of steel. I can't imagine believing the human body was designed so poorly that so inherently broken and so weak that in order to maintain health, brand new babies need 26 plus injections of man-made concoctions, synthetic chemicals, heavy metals, and animal secretions before they even turn 1. Yet I once believed that too. The programming is deep and it takes time to break it. The senior CIA official who facilitated Biden's military COVID-19 vaccine mandate she was fired. That's, I believe, what we showed earlier. But it's interesting that it ties together in that way. Right there. What a time to be alive. Seems like we've had so much information pour into our lives in the past decade. So difficult to absorb it all. How in the world they're able to put this together on a chessboard and manipulate and move pieces around so that we can wake up and at the same time destroy the deep state is absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And for them to come out and remind us that we have more than we know regarding the steel, the tech, reminding us that America was for sale, reminding us that they were weakening the United States one day at a time, reminding us that Uranium One and the cash flow funnel and the inside jobs and the traders and the money. As a reminder, we are in control. Those awake can see. Q.
For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for how you continue to help us on this journey through life on this earth. Thank you that we can walk outside and enjoy your creation, that we can look at the flowers of spring. We can finally see our skies slowly but surely we hope to see them all cleaned out through the entire earth, but many are showing imagery of clean skies. We know that your earth was put here, created, and we use it, and we're responsible for it. And we ask that you continue to help us understand all the methods and ways that you've put things together on this earth to help us physically, mentally, and more. Thank you for a great president. Thank you for leadership. Thank you for those that are looking out for us and destroying this enemy. And we certainly hope that through the many prayers that you're receiving, that they'll be exposed, that we'll have a wonderful earth once again to be able to share your son with the masses. We know it's an uphill battle, seems like all the time, but we also understand there's victory happening every day with this leadership. Please protect them, protect those, and with immense responsibility, help them to have clarity of mind. Help us all to continue to know the truth as you would see fit. We ask all this in the name of your Son, Yeshua, Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen and amen. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your time. I hope you have a great remainder of your week. What an amazing set of information pieces that were given to us today, don't you think? For now, this is LT saying Semper Fi with them we know. Signing out.
Now my daddy died when I was 3.
We do not need other countries as much as other countries need us. And President Trump knows this. He's going to use the leverage of our markets and our country to the advantage of the people he was sworn in to represent. On the other hand, countries like China, who have chosen to retaliate and try to double down on their mistreatment of American workers, are making a mistake. President Trump has a spine of steel, and he will not break, and America will not break under his leadership.
Wasn't her kind of style. So I kind of got toughened up and hard to learn not to feel. They started calling me the man of steel. Hey, my friends all call me Superman.
I personally thank you for what you do for our country and for our industry. It has been my pleasure to be here today to help you usher in the golden age of America. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that.
But the shrill voices that you're hearing this week about tariffs are the same scoundrels and frauds who never thought twice about when the United States lost 90,000 factories and plants. Think of that, 90,000.
I think there was this concern among some folks that Donald Trump would come in for a second term and kind of be a lame duck. He ain't no lame duck. If anything, he's a soaring eagle.
Man of steel. My friends all call me